Phil Perry covers the Patriots for NBC Sports Boston. He joins us live in studio this morning. Hello, Phil.
Good morning, boys. How's everybody doing?
We're doing well, and I have been interested because it's very deep in the weeds for casual sports conversation. But there has been a conversation this week of the formation and the line of the offensive line, the usage of different players in unfamiliar positions on the offensive line. Is this of interest to you? And if so, why?
Well, that should be my realm, right?
Yeah.
I'm a beat guy. Like,
right.
I am interested in that sort of thing. I'm wondering, and I'm a little concerned, quite frankly, that you would be interested in this, Fred.
I'm not. I'm asking why is this being talked about?
Okay, good.
Because did you see what? It's a snarky way of saying. Did you see anything egregious in the way the offensive line was managed last Sunday?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
It was a little odd to me that they would go away from a combination that they had for a couple of games, which had been so rare for them, right? They've been looking for any sort of consistency on the line, and they could have had 2 games in a row, 3 games total this year with DeMontre Jacobs and Michael Wenu on the right side, Ben Brown in the middle, and the left side with Vidarian Lowe and Michael Jordan. They went away from that to get Micah Wenu back to tackle and put the rookie Layden Robinson, who played well like really early in the year and then fell off, back at right guard. And to me, where consistency and continuity and chemistry and all of those C words matter so much at that position, why would you mess with it when you have the opportunity to keep things going in a certain direction? But mess with it they did. I think the reason was because they like the combination of Robinson and Owenu on one side of the line right next to each other because they're both physical, strong guys who like to run block. And one of many things the Patriots haven't been able to do over the course of the last month, they've been worst in the league essentially, is run the football. So I think that move was in regards to that. Boy, how can we get our run game going? Let's see if we can get the rookie back out there, start moving some people at the line of scrimmage, and open up our offense a little bit that way. It couldn't have gone worse. Layden Robinson was like the worst player on the field for the first 2 quarters of the game.
When you had to pass, that became problematic. Layden Robinson didn't belong out there.
And you still couldn't run. I mean, I think the theory is, right, well, if we can run it on first down, now instead of 2nd and 9 and 3rd and 8, well, now we've got 3rd and 3, and now we're a little more unpredictable, and now we can do just about anything, and it didn't go that way. So, listen, I give them a little bit of credit for changing midstream. Like, before they even got to they didn't even wait to halftime. They had brought DeMontre Jacobs back in and taken Layden Robinson out. But against a team that has really one star-level player in Jeffrey Simmons, to go with that plan and change things up and hope the rookie Layden Robinson can hold up against that guy, that was questionable at best.
Ponderous.
Are we at a point now, though, because Drake May has shown himself to be a good improviser, are we at a point now where they're kind of flipping the offense because it was 2/3 pass to run last week? Are we at a point where they're going to say, okay, Drake, here's the football, go get him?
This is a really tough one for me because it's the only way they move the ball, right? Mm-hmm. And so if you want to be productive and you want to allow this guy to develop in real time and give him extended drives, like give him a chance to move the football down the field, that's what you would be doing. You'd probably be spreading it out, asking him to drop back 45 times. He had 41 attempts, so 45 dropbacks probably total between the 4 sacks that he took as well. And just seeing what he can do and just asking him to carry the entire offense because that's what he's been doing. At the same time, that position is so exhausting to play. And he's not one of these guys who came through college like Jaden Daniels with 55 college starts. He had 26 college starts. He just turned 22. It's exhausting. The way he plays it physically, it's exhausting. But it's also mentally exhausting to be making the right decisions over and over and over again, or at least trying to. And you never get a mental break of just saying, okay, I can just hand it off to Ramondre Stevenson here, take a breather, let's get to 2nd and 6 or whatever it is, and go from there.
How much is on his plate before the snap? How much, to your understanding, is up to him? You mentioned that. It's interesting. He's mentally exhausted. You see a guy like Aaron Rodgers who just lets the clock run out while he brilliantly figures all the pieces. How much?
Well, sometimes guys are in motion, Fred.
Yeah, and then they stop, and then he takes another 10 seconds.
But sometimes there's a late substitution. He's got a lot of excuses.
The 11 players are on the field. But so here's the deal. How much leeway do you think he has, in other words? Like, how much thinking does he have to do in relation to other quarterbacks in the NFL?
Oh, not a lot in relation to other quarterbacks in the NFL, but some, and more than he's used to, I'm sure. When it comes to, okay, am I seeing one high safety or two, and are we checking into a pass here because they've loaded the box and it's going to be even more impossible for us to run on this play than it is on all others. So there is some of that, and that requires some energy. But I think by and large, and talking to some Titans defensive coaches on the field before this game, they would tell you, and I think a lot of people in the league would tell you, it's a quarterback-friendly offense. It's a lot of what Kevin Stefanski's doing in Cleveland, and they're not playing great offense right now either, but a lot of it is designed to take some of the decision-making out of the quarterback's hands or make those decisions a little bit easier, pre-snap and post-snap. And I think it's probably the post-snap decisions that are more mentally taxing because you're trying to read, okay, the corner is the read here. If he sucks up on the running back who's in the flat, then I throw it deep. If he goes deep, then but you're trying to figure all those things out in 1.3 seconds or whatever it is, and those are probably the tougher decisions for him.
Okay, help me reconcile something here because we like the way the offense looks. We like seeing Drake May play. If we're talking about wins and losses, the two wins have come when Jacobi Pret has been in at quarterback, and you're not moving the ball in a spectacular fashion. How much of that has to do with the opponent in both the Bengals and the Jets? And I think with the Jets, it's almost entirely on them. But how do you convince me that this is the right way to go, moving the ball downfield, throwing a lot, doing all these things when your success kind of comes when it's not only doing something a different way, but with a different guy entirely?
Well, I think this would be a good sign of the fact that there are a lot of things that go into winning and losing football games, right? Beyond quarterback play. And as much as that matters for quarterback, are you able to, at the end of the day, win the game? That to me matters. It's part of what made Tom Brady great, even, early in his career. Wasn't putting up amazing numbers, but he was the best choice for them because they were winning games, and it was in large part because of the decisions that he was making on a snap-to-snap basis. There's just so much other stuff that goes into it. It's part of the reason why I don't love the quarterback wins stat as like the be-all, end-all stat.
I give that game to Drake May. Like, I mean, the idea that he made the play on fourth down, the idea that 2 weeks in a row, that took it to overtime, but they had goal line situations that he converted, I think I know it's not technically the win-loss thing, but I think that he has proven himself to be up to the moment. I mean, no, that was Jacobi Pret that was in the Jet game. My bad.
Right.
But what he did in the Tennessee game, I think it proves that he's up to the moment. You know what I'm saying?
There's no doubt. There's no question who the better quarterback is here, right? Or are you suggesting that maybe Jacobi Pret is a better player?
Nope.
Okay.
I believe when I watch Drake May, you're looking at the quarterback for this team for the future. Just help me wrap my head around the fact that the two wins that they have this season have come when Jacobi Pret is in the game, and they're doing all these things that we kind of scoff at, like, run the ball. It's so much easier to give it to Ramondre Stevenson and play this safe way and not throw the ball downfield. Except for that sticky little point of the two games that you've won, that's what you did.
It's a fair point, and I would also say, sort of like in the inverse, looking at the games you've lost, just look back at last week. The quarterback turned it over 3 times. So, like, if you want to make the argument that you would rather have Jacobi Pret, I would never do that. I'm not sure there's many people out there who would say that. But if you want to make that argument, that's the argument. The rookie's great, and he can run around for 12 seconds back there, and he can throw it lying flat on his back 45 yards. What's that getting you? Because he also turned it over 3 times trying to do some superhero types of things. And Jacobi Pret, meanwhile, is just sort of taking what's there, not turning the ball over at a historic rate. And all of the games you've won this year, all 2 of them, have come with him behind center. I still would say the only reason you're in that game to begin with this past week is because of Drake May. And so you're getting better quarterback play from him. You don't think that's true? What's the score of that Titans game if Drake May is not in there?
100%.
He is the offense right now.
I thought you were talking about the win against the Jets.
No.
Because he was in there for,
No, And whereas Jacoby Brissett sort of is treading water in that Jets game, but makes a couple big plays at the end. Makes that throw to Kayshon Boutte that I thought was a great throw. He didn't want to take any credit for it, but he's taking a hard shot to his legs, is able to drive it 34 yards down the field and put them into scoring range.
Maybe I'm just trying to guard against the whole notion that just because a quarterback looks good and he's got the tools and he's doing cool things, don't worry so much about the win-loss record. And I agree with you on that point from a macro standpoint. But that's kind of what we were told about Deshaun Watson. Like, look how good he is. He doesn't win any games. Doesn't matter. Man, he's it.
Well, he wasn't even doing the cool things anymore and losing by the end. He wasn't cool at all and losing. That's a bad combination.
I'm talking about before he got to Cleveland. I mean,
they won some games in Houston. They got to the playoffs. That was not a great team.
Did they get to the playoffs with Deshaun?
He was a successful quarterback in Houston. That's why they made the trade and gave him all that money.
It was more about how he looked, though, than the actual overall success of the team.
Sure, he wasn't a championship-level quarterback.
Correct.
I would say this. When you look at the best quarterbacks in the NFL right now, and Patrick Mahomes is almost a case unto himself, but why is he the best quarterback in the world? Why is Josh Allen among the best quarterbacks in the world? Why is Lamar Jackson among the best quarterbacks in the world? It's because they do that cool, like we're using cool as sort of a pejorative term right now, but you have to play make. That's the word I would use. You have to be able to create off script. You have to be able to run. You have to be able to throw on the run. You have to be able to do things that the coach couldn't design for you in real time because the defense is occasionally going to have the right answer. And so then what do? And it's the best quarterbacks in the league that can get themselves out of those situations and not only get themselves out and create sort of a neutral situation for their team, but excel in those situations. And so Mahomes is the best of the best because he limits the mistakes and he has all the quote-unquote cool stuff.
And he's got guys who can actually do their one little part in that play-make the scenario, where just catch the ball when your quarterback manages to avoid 3 different sacks and he's rolling right and throwing left, but if he actually gets it to you, make sure you catch the ball. And Drake May doesn't have that. Right?
He doesn't have that. And when he gets that, maybe he elevates to a level where he's suddenly 3 years from now, he's in the conversation with some of those names I just mentioned. Because I think his ability, sheer physical ability, and I think some of the mental stuff that we've already seen from him in terms of his toughness and his resiliency and the ability to bounce back from a bad interception and not be down about it and not let it ruin the rest of his night. I think those are all positive things, and if they can surround him with actual players, you might have somebody that's in the conversation among the best quarterbacks.
I don't even think you need a Jamar Chase type. I think you just need a 2 to make him much better. That's what I think. Pop Douglas is a 3 on a good team. If you just get a 2 like a T. Higgins, if you get somebody like that, he'll take a major step forward.
That would be a massive improvement, wouldn't it?
Yes.
I mean,
massive improvement.
It's part of the reason why this year is frustrating. Is because I think our ability to gauge how people are doing, how they're performing in their jobs, whether it's the quarterback himself, whether it's the offensive coordinator or the head coach, like there are certain situations we can 100% look at and say, bad job, Gerard Mayo, bad job, Alex Van Pelt, or good job, vice versa. But a lot of this stuff is in the gray for me because the personnel is so bad that the stuff they're drawing up for these guys, the receivers alone, like take them in a vacuum. There's zero detail, it feels like, on a week-to-week basis with these guys. Running into it, we broke down a play last night with Brian Hoyer on the Game Plan show where it was Drake May's first pick, and he's looking like he wants to throw to Hunter Henry. As he's going to make that throw, who's like 3 yards behind him, running almost the same route in the exact same space? It's Jalen Polk, who did the same thing in Jacksonville on a rollout play. He's like 6 inches from Hunter Henry, 20 yards down the field. That's not how they draw those plays up. That's a lack of detail from the receiving group. And I feel like that position in particular is really limiting how we can gauge how the rest of the pieces in the offense are doing at certain points in time. And I wonder with that position group, if you just need to start from scratch, like starting next year. I like Pop Douglas. He's a 3 or maybe a 4. Like
at best.
He's just, his size limits him. They need a lot of help in that room, and I don't know if you can get it all in one off season.
Are you interested in Deshaun's Watson's record?
Career?
No. With the Texans.
Oh.
Yeah.
He's 3 seasons with the Texans. They won the division twice, but in fairness to Hardy, they were terrible in his last year there. Bill O'Brien, little magic. They won 9 in a row in 2018.
Yep.
I was Googling it.
Look at you.
Yeah.
Bill O'Brien used to be a great
History
head coach.
major.
Yeah.
I find the data. Find the stats, baby. Bill O'Brien was a good head coach. He developed.
Yes.
Deshaun Watson thrived under Bill O'Brien.
Until they traded DeAndre Hopkins, and that was the year that things went
then it all
really
went
south.
Bill O'Brien was trying to make a point. DeAndre Hopkins is not being a very good soldier, so Bill traded him for a running back that
David Johnson.
David Johnson, who had one good year in Arizona and disappeared.
That was an interesting choice.
Yes.
I think he got fired in the middle. Was that the season he got fired?
I think it was
same year.
That either that offseason or the next year. He did not last long after that.
Well, yeah, in 2020, it was like a disaster. They
Yeah,
won,
Sells
like, 2
texted me
games.
too. When O'Brien was there, Watson was leader for MVP and tore his ACL. He diced us up. This is all part of my Deshaun Watson bias, which I had the moment he got that huge contract in Cleveland, and I said,
I can't. Why would you dislike him?
Because I was
Yeah, you're the one, Hardy.
Yeah, like,
I've been saying this guy wasn't worth it for a long, long period.
What's
of
your
time.
problem with Deshaun Watson?
counterculture
It's
god.
more of a personal thing that the point Fred's making, but I didn't even have to get personal. My whole point with Deshaun Watson when he got signed to Cleveland was, why is everyone so convinced this guy can still play football? Because it had been a long time since he had played football, and turns out he can't play football.
They thought he was an upgrade from Baker Mayfield.
Yep.
Look where those two guys are now.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, he missed the entire 2021
I was the one person with the
season.
courage to ask, Phil. All I did
You
was
were.
ask.
You. Thank God you are in our lives. Just the integrity that you bring to us all by osmosis is really incredible.
Did you have anyone on Instagram tell you to go kill yourself yesterday, Hardy? Some of us are the real soldiers
Let
with
me
our
check
boots
my
on the ground.
let me check my DMs.
Phil, I'm sure you get that every day.
Oh, all the time. All the time.
Very
Everyone
graphic.
Everyone hates Phil Perry.
He wanted it done in a very graphic way, too.
Oh, really?
was
You didn't
explaining
mention
it.
He
that.
was explaining how he wanted me to kill myself.
Goodness.
It was a little jarring. It's at the dog park.
I thought it involved an ice bath.
No, I could
Cold
take that.
plunge.
You can't kill me with an ice bath.
Fred's going to sit there all day.
That would be
That's
like putting.
sit there until the ice melts.
Here's what he wrote. I took a picture of it because I knew he'd take it down.
Just for
I took a picture of it because I knew he'd take it down. It was a little much.
It's a healthy place to be.
And he
social
has his
media in
real
general.
name on his profile,
Wow.
which I'm humbly not giving to the public. I'm
I'd give that
showing
out in a
some
second.
Hey,
I'm showing a
Someone
little
tried
restraint.
to say someone wants me dead. All bets
It
are
was
off.
such
as far as I'm
a
concerned.
and it was during the day, which makes me think this guy's in a very, very bad place. Because if he's reaching out to sports morning show hosts, wanting them to kill themselves based on nonsense, that I'm feeling like that's not a 3:00 thing that a mentally healthy person.
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
So I'm giving the guy a break. I'm showing some sympathy, some apathy for
wow,
someone.
this has become an integrity off between you and Hardy right now.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're just both shining. We're partners.
maybe that guy got up way too early and was trying to win the day, and he was hustling, and he goes on his 4 a.m. run,
And then he looks at his
works out,
bank
"Oh,
account
yeah,"
at 3 p.m. and there's no more money in it.
and he
goes,
decides to attack you as a way to lash out.
Yeah.
like when you send me that, it's more of like, whoa, this person's in a super bad place. That's why I'm not giving the name, Jonathan. I've matured. I have matured.
You're an inspiration to us all.
All right. Thank you very much. We'll be back with more Phil Perry, 617-779-0985. We'll be right back.
If you like that clip, and how could you not? Check out more videos from Toucher and Hardy here. Point slightly up and to the left. For more Patriots analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. Point slightly down and to the left. And for the latest from the Sports Hub, download at 985thesportshub.com.